Okay, this video is going to be all about rotations. We are going to do determine rotations, rotate points, and then rotate shapes. And this is the exact order that I want you to complete your Khan Academy modules in. So let's start with determining rotations. Rotations require some facts, and if you write the facts down, then you'll be able to do the work, but I strongly suggest that you make sure you write these rules down. The first rules are the rules of rotations. So go ahead and take a moment to write these down. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at determine rotations. In addition to these rules, something that you need to know is that when you rotate counterclockwise, your degrees are going to be positive. When you rotate clockwise, your degrees are going to be negative. And if you get confused as to what clockwise is and what counterclockwise is, you can look at the clock in the room. The direction that the second hand is moving is clockwise. And if you were to go in the opposite direction, that would be counterclockwise. So let's get started. Determine translations. So triangle ABC is the image of ABC under rotation about point P. When they use the term about point P, what they're saying is this is the center. So this A should be the same distance as this A as we rotate this triangle about this point. Now, we started here and we started at this A and we moved over here. So we're moving in this direction. Okay, this is counterclockwise, and counterclockwise is positive degrees. So I know that my answer has to be either 45 degrees or 75 degrees, but it is in fact going to be positive. I'm just going to write a little plus sign right here to remind me that it has to be one of those two things. Okay, actually, let me erase all this. Okay, I'm going to write a plus sign again. Now, what you want to do is you're going to start at point P, and you're going to draw a line to A, and then you're going to draw a line to A prime. And when you do this, what you're doing is seeing what these degrees look like. Does it look to you like this line is going to be, or this angle is going to be closer to 45 degrees or closer to 75 degrees? Well, the frame of reference that we have for acute angles is anything less than 90 degrees. And we know 90 degrees is going to look like a right angle. We're familiar with this. So we want to say, does this look more like, I don't know, this angle? This might be 75 degrees. Or does it look smaller like this angle? Okay. The angle looks pretty small to me. I'm going to say that it is 45 degrees. Okay, again, first question, is our answer going to be negative or is our answer going to be positive? Well, again, we started right here and then we moved over here. Okay, and that is counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is positive degrees. So I'm going to write a plus sign over here so I know it has to be one of the positive answers. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at Q, and I'm drawing to point A and to point A prime. Okay. Now let's see what our options are. They're saying that it has to either be 120 degrees or 165 degrees. Well, if I was to draw the line completely across here, this would be 180 degrees, okay? Because this would be a straight line. But I'm not measuring this distance from here all the way to here. This is just my imaginary line so I can get a visual. Do I think that this space looks like it would be more 120 degrees or more closer to 165? I'm going to say 120 degrees. Okay, now we're looking at this shape. It started here and it moved down here. So I can see that it's moving in a counterclockwise direction, which means my answer is going to be positive. Let me go ahead. The origin is in the center. I'm going to draw my point in the center and draw it to the D and then to the D prime. Okay. Now my positive answers for my options are 135 degrees, 150, 165, or 180. So this is a little bit advanced. We have 4 different numbers and they're all positive. I'm going to say that that looks pretty much exactly like a straight line, and I'm 180 degrees. Okay, so the next module that we want to do is called rotate points. Okay, point Q was rotated by 75 degrees. 75 degrees is positive, and positive is counterclockwise. So I know that it's going to be, it's counterclockwise. So I know that Q is going in this direction. And I know that if I start at the center and I look at my next point, looks like letter D would be about 75 degrees. Okay, point Q is rotated about the origin 0, 0 by 180 degrees. Well, it started at 4. It's 180 degrees. I know it's going to be a straight line. It's going to be point B. Okay, we can see the origin is here. 180 degrees is a straight line. There's Q. There's B. And when it rotates, what you want to imagine is that it's rotating on this perfect circle that I can't draw, but so when it's rotating, the Q can't go outside of this circle. It's not going to magically jump outside of here at any point. So you can go ahead and cross off anything that's outside here off the list. It can't be C and it can't be D. Our only true options were B and A. And when we started at the origin and we drew a line to B and drew a line to Q, we could see that that was a straight line. And a straight line we know is 180 degrees. So our answer is B. Okay, point P was rotated by 60 degrees. That's going to be counterclockwise. Start at 0, This is at x is 2, y is 5. Okay. This is at x is negative 3, y is 4. This is at x is negative 5, y is 2. So 60 degrees. Which one looks more like 60 degrees? This one or the entire thing? I'm thinking C. Okay, so this is rotate points. Now we're going to rotate shapes. Okay, so let's look at step 1 of rotating shapes. First, you have to have your rules written down, your rules for 90 degrees counterclockwise / 270 degrees clockwise. You need to have everything written down that we stated earlier, that this is the time that we're going to use that chart. And then the second step is really to have the self-discipline. The first thing you want to do is write down the coordinate points. So I have 3 coordinate points here. I have E, A, S. The E coordinate point is -7, +2. The A coordinate point is -1, +2. The S coordinate point is -7, -2. Okay, we have our points. Now, if we look at our rule and we see that it's 270 degrees about the origin, well, the degrees are positive, so we're going 270 degrees counterclockwise. 270 degrees counterclockwise. If you're looking at your notes, it follows the rule x comma y, which is our original, is going to turn into y comma -x. So I'm going to write my y first. I have 2 comma, this is already a -7. When I add the negative, it's going to be minus minus, which will turn into a plus. 2, again, I'm adding that negative, so this is going to turn into a positive. And then y is -2. This stays the same, 7. Okay? So we're going to have 2, 7, 2, 1, -2, comma 7. Two -1, x is -2. Okay. Okay, so they're not all going to ask you 270 degrees. Some will ask you 180 degrees. Some of these questions will ask you about 90 degrees. You have to follow the rules that were given to you. And you need to know that when it says 270 degrees about the origin, that's a positive number. And so therefore it's going to be a 270 degrees counterclockwise rotation. So I would encourage you to make sure that you have your what is positive and what is negative, and then also your rules right in front of you as you go through this.